I'm Kevin Fitzpatrick from the World War I Centennial Committee, and I'm with
Dr. Libby O'Connell. I'm with the United States World War I Centennial Commission, and I'm also with the World War I Centennial Committee for New York City.
And why should we remember the centennial of World War I?
World War I transformed the entire country, and it also transformed our world.
Why is something like Camp Doughboy important to participate in and our sponsors to participate in too?
There are lots of ways to learn more about World War I, but one of the best ways is to join Camp Doughboy. Here we're on Governor's Island. There are reenactors. It's live history, things you can see, you can touch, you can talk to people, just walk up to these experts and they're fonts of knowledge. It becomes truly a public area for learning. And I think everybody who, whether they're a history student or a history teacher or just somebody who's passing by, can learn so much and enjoy it at the same time.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What's your name and why are you here today?
My name is Keith Machowski. I'm a volunteer here at Governor's Island National Monument with the National Park Service.
And you talked about the preparedness movement. What is the preparedness movement?
I did. The preparedness movement was a movement that was underway in the United States in 1914 through 1917. The two chief protagonists in the preparedness movement were former President Theodore Roosevelt and Major General Leonard Wood, who commanded the Department of the East here on Governor's Island from July of 1914 through April of 1917.
What's something you like seeing today at Camp Doughboy, since you're a World War I buff? What do you like about seeing everybody together today?
I've really enjoyed the lightning talks a great deal. I've learned a lot from them, and also the living historians. I like the material culture. I think people respond very strongly when they see how people lived 100 years ago, and that in a lot of ways they lived, a lot of the needs of the people were very similar to the needs that we have today, and I think that really comes out when people see, how people lived, how they camped, even the basic things they did, like shaving and brushing their teeth, and I think people react very strongly to it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name's Florence Kletcher.
And what is your impression today?
My impression today, I am a veterinarian in the Veterinary Corps.
And what did the Veterinary Corps do in World War I?
Well, what's unusual is that I'm a woman and a veterinarian, and although I'm not licensed to practice in the United States, I could still be a veterinarian. And what happened was that WWI sent 60 veterinarian women over to the war effort, and we helped take care of the horses, which unfortunately were considered equipment, and because there was such a shortage of veterinarians at the time.
What speaks to you? Why do you think an event like this is important to come to Camp Doughboy?
Oh, I think it's really, really interesting to let people know that when you think of war, you usually think of a lot of men and charging, and you don't really think so much about the important and major role horses and animals had in that war.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Flo. Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
My name is John Elaney, and we are representing essentially the backside of medical divisions.
Tell me about motorcycles in World War I. What were they used for and how were they used?
Well, the motorcycling was in its infancy in World War I. Early on, the British, they had ads in papers. If you own a motorcycle and it checks out, you can join the motorcycle corps with your own personal motorcycle. So a lot of guys signed up. Their bikes didn't really pass muster, but a lot of guys did. A lot of guys got in just like that, and they were totally separate from the regular army. They were like the motorcycle guys. They were like separate, so they were delivering messages. They were, it's pretty unique how you can get around on a bike that you can't get around on a car. So when you have a war that is almost entirely comprised of mud and garbage and woods, a motorcycle makes more sense than any vehicle.
Tell us about this bike, which is celebrating its centennial this year.
Yeah. This bike is going to have a birthday in December 17th, 2017. It's a Model H Triumph. It's a war issue bike only. They had trials at racetracks where the different manufacturers got together, and they had certain specs. They wanted a certain engine capacity, and they wanted this and that, and all the big manufacturers put together a bike that they thought would do well. Now, Triumph kind of had a foothold on design. They had some of the better designers. You'll see later this bike starts right up. That was also that was the main thing that got this model selected. The ability that this thing can start on the dime.